Enroll now 9-week holistic herbal health course. Learn traditional African concepts of health, the art and science of nutrition and herbal medicine, detoxification, importance of sleep, natural remedies for stress, herb walk, herbal preparation, tea tasting, microgreens growing, and much more. Where? Tea Chances, 399 High Road, Tottenham, London N17 6QM. Weekly, Tuesdays, May the 7th through to July the 2nd, 6:30 till 9 p.m. £25 per class, or to purchase full course, call 079 497 13639. That's 079 497 13639. See you there.
This is called the cancer bush.
Oh, I've heard of this. The cancer bush.
It is from nature that diseases arise, and from nature comes the cure. Dr. Paracelsus. Cancer bush, the hidden herb that supports and treats cancer patients, is brought to you by Mother Nature's traditional herbal remedies. Cancer bush is the miracle herb and can also treat these following conditions: cancer, chronic fatigue, depression, diabetes type 2, piles, hot flushes, gonorrhea, syphilis, hemorrhoids, chlamydia, rheumatoid arthritis, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, mental stress, lupus influenza, swine flu, and more. To find out more, and if you or a loved one are suffering from the following conditions, please head over to our website on www.cancerbush.org.uk. If you'd like to email us, please email at info@cancerbush.org.uk. You can also call us on 0208 993 4870. That's 0208 993 4870, or 07943 144 544. That's 07943 144 544. Cancer bush, the miracle herb.
Rastataya, Rastataya, Rastataya. This is the Shaka from station to station to tell the generation and the nations. Rastafari. Education is the key. All youth strive for development. Rastafari. Love is the key. You can give them that message from me.
No cigarette smoking in my room. Yeah. I still want Marley. Best FM radio, play good tune.
Yes. Just went into a spontaneous ad break and thing, just to break it up a little bit. But yes, I am back, and I'm gonna hit this same thing from another angle here, because talking about values and the soul, and something actually came to my mind while I jumped into this, decided to go into this break, because I want to correlate something here now to do with what's happening here emotionally. There's a lot of emotional energy going on, a lot of people feeling anxiety. I'm not straying from the point, but I'm going to hit this in a different angle from what I was saying already. So, So, what I'm talking about here now, see, everything is about your soul. The soul is what is being called God. Your soul is the universe within inside of you. On my previous show, when I talked about Amour, love, and broke that down, make you understand that's the soul's light. Amour, those of you who listened to the last show, you know, you can, you're there with me, right? But if you haven't, then go on, check it out again or check it out for the first time. Because I was breaking down about Amour and love and how this all came down to the soul. And then that love is really the soul. And I was talking about devotional love or devotional yoga. And the whole thing, a lot of these things about yoga, a lot of people are just dealing with the asanas and so forth, which are the movements, an Indian Asian word for the body postures and so forth. But that is not what yoga is about. It is just, those are little preliminaries. Those are like certain disciplines in order for you to condition your body, open it up, stretch it up. But the thing is, in order for you to be able to sit for long periods of time, because yoga is not about the body movements, okay? And I'm talking about these, I'm talking about the soul here now. Yoga means to unite. It means to yoke, okay? And it's about unity consciousness. The whole exercises of yoga is to assist one to purify their intellect, to assist one to not identify so much with the mind and the intellect and the body. Because the soul that's identifying with the mind, because it's your soul, yeah? And your soul has been conditioned, caught up in this illusion, and began to identify with the mind, identify with the body, identify with time, space, and matter. While at the same time, the soul transcends all time, all space, all matter. So the knowledge of self is what yoga is supposed to cultivate, okay? Now, a lot of people talk about Egypt. And then we have a lot of, from in the 60s and before, we've had a lot of information come out that was being suppressed by the Western mentality, the Western view of the world, the Western perception that has manufactured beliefs and have been transmitting, basically manufacturing beliefs that is shaping people's perception of themselves, which then leads one to manifest their reality, their beliefs on this plane, and be caught up and tied up in a societal cultural construct of conditioning and programming, okay? Now, I was saying before the ad, I was saying about the soul and talking about value systems and how we're going through a transformation of these value systems. And these value systems are what we have been conditioned to look outside of ourselves externally to attach our sense of whatever we're valuing onto, okay? Now, this keeps you trapped in the ego domain, the human life. A lot of I keep talking on the show about this human and how human is not what you is. And even people who consider themselves spiritual or, very religious and learned, you turn around and open your mouth and chat about, well, hang on a minute, we're not human. And if you think about, like, human actually comes from the word humus, meaning soil, dirt, and dust. Some may use that to correlate to say, well, ain't we dirt? Ain't we dust? Ain't we part of the, ain't we part of the elements? Ain't we part of the earth? So we are human, if that's what earth, human means, dirt, soil, and ground. And you see, that type of thing there, that type of thing is still, it's kind of like bondage talk, yeah? Because, yes, you're part of the elements and stuff, but here's this out. You see, it's your soul that has created all of this. It's like you're the wave in the ocean and the ocean in the wave. But you know that the wave is generated by the ocean, and the ocean is the source of the wave. Yeah? So the wave now, the wave is connected to the ocean, but the wave is temporary. The wave exists in time and space. Okay? And the wave always, no matter how huge the wave is, it would always return back to the ocean. So if you use the analogy of the ocean is the soul, and the wave is the ego construct, the body, the mind, the instrument, the vehicle, yeah, of the ocean expressing itself as it generates a desire from within to experience But while this wave now is generated as a separative apparent separativeness, a separate individual expression emerging out from the ocean, you have to remember the wave is always connected to the ocean, no matter how high it may rise and how strong and long that wave may run. But the ocean, the wave is always connected to the ocean. But it's the awareness now of the waves, awareness that it is one with the ocean. I hope I ain't losing you here, because I'm giving an analogy. I'm giving an analogy of the ocean and the wave, dealing with the soul and the mind-body construct, okay? And as I'm saying that the soul, pertaining to the ocean, is the source and the generator and originator of the waves, okay? Your mind, your body, the egoic construct, you see? And it's a vehicle of expression. But your human body, if you want to say because it's earth, it's physical, that's what you are, if you are part of all the planet and everything. Yeah, but that's mental, that's mind. That's all these, you see, when people get caught up on these concepts, rather than realizing that what the true goal is for you to, for one, to have direct communion with source, direct realization, okay, of source. Even just hearing about it and talking about it is indirect, but it can assist one to reflect, in order to take that reflection inwardly, meditate, and you can intuitively now come to know the truth through the direct experience of yourself, the innermost, your innermost reality, yeah, you'll come to realize is one with the innermost reality of all existence. Now, I'm using words here that, might not be as colloquial, everyday speech, because, language, there's a barrier, is a limitation, I should say, with language. But I'm saying that the ocean is the generator and the source, your soul, of the wave. And the wave, no matter how long it may endure, okay, and ride itself, it'll eventually ride itself out and return back to the ocean, okay? Now, if you're identifying with the wave rather than the ocean, then the ocean, an analogy, is going to be trying to hold on for dear life, because this identification with the wave rather than with the ocean itself makes you suffer, because you're going to want to hold on to that which is impermanent. You're seeking happiness within that which is impermanent. You're looking security within that which is impermanent. You're seeking empowerment and esteem and value and all these things that are impermanent. So this sets people up. This is the experience called human life, for a lot of ups and downs, and you're trapped within time and space. Now, your soul, who you really is, not this human, transcends time and space. Your soul is really the universe, or your innermost self contains the innermost reality of all existence within itself. You see, dealing with the origin of identity, which is drawn out from the source of all existence. We're not talking about your nationality. We're not talking about your humanhood here. Because the humanhood is where all the problems and limitations are coming from. The humanhood is where all of these beliefs and these limited, finite times, concepts within time, space, and matter. This is the stuff that causes all of this is the enemy, you could say, of yourself. Because it's not who you are. It keeps you trapped within the human realm of karma, which is cause and effect. And in identifying with your mind, I had someone talking with someone today where there was some quote that Buddha is supposed to have made. But you see, anyone could write a quote and put Buddha's name on it, but it was basically something relating to your mind being the creator. And I was saying, if your mind's the creator, then what's your soul? And they were saying, well, the soul is what enables you to feel experience emotions, right? So I said, okay, so what's the nature of God? And then it was just, what he was hearing was just, you see, it's the conditioning, it's the programming. You don't know something, so you're in your mental concepts to explain what you don't know. But the thing is, what we're trying to do is explain something that we also have the ability to know directly, to experience directly. But rather than do that, most of us hold on to the programming and conditioning and then just talk some mental stuff, recorded or memorized stuff, indirect experience of the Creator, of their selves. So you see how all of this now, when you're getting all of these teachings coming out, for example, which is in this time to wake up to one's innermost reality, we have a lot of things caught up in the mind, a lot of things being, distorted and kept keeping folk in this bondage. Now remember, freedom came before bondage. Freedom existed before bondage. Freedom was before bondage. Freedom comes before bondage. So, freedom is your first love. Freedom is what your soul knows. Bondage is something that came afterwards as, the consciousness on this planet slowly, began to recede away from the oneness with source, the oneness with the divine innermost reality, and began to buy into the illusion. This is when now your soul, which is consciousness, the divine reality, right, through the illusion and through the manipulation of external, manufactured, man-made sources, began to identify more with the mind, began to identify more with the body. And this is what began to create the bondage and the entrapment. And then more fear sets in, because now it's the egoic mind that's running the show. And the egoic mind is about survival. The egoic mind is about protecting you from harm and drawing to you, bring to you what makes you happy, but at the expense of who's ever in the way, or who's ever perceived of being in the way of what the ego perceives of as that which will make it happy or its source of enjoyment. Okay? At the same time, it will defend through any kind of perceived threat of some external danger what it has now obtained. And now it becomes this thing where you're fortifying yourself with all these walls around just to protect your little thing out of the fear of somebody maybe coming to try to take it from you. And that mindset it prevails amongst a lot of people, okay? That mindset prevails around the planet because it's being supported and conditioned within this Western framework, this Western civilization. Or if you call it civilization, I'm not even sure if we should call it that, but, some may beg to differ. So, I've been talking also about the planetary influences, okay? And some people think, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing because I don't believe in that stuff, you see? And it's like, well, you don't have to believe water is wet for it to be wet. There's certain things, the universal laws of existence is moving, whether you're conscious of it or not, because, you see, the ego and the human mind is very, very ignorant to the broader reality or the laws of the universe, the universal laws or greater laws that governs everything. It's ignorant to the innermost reality of all existence that is also that which is within the soul, the real self. So what is ignorant of that reality, it tries to hold on, pertain, maintain, and keep everything bounded, locked down into this physicality, okay? Even to the point of believing that spirituality is separate. If you're going to talk about spirituality, well, but we're physical beings. You find more people are very, 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 they will very hold on to this physical identity. Well, but we're physical beings. That's spiritual stuff. Oh yeah, but that's personal, isn't it? And that's, but we're here. We have to live, and it's physical. It's physical, we got to, and it's this holding on to physical. And it's like not even realizing that the source of your physical longevity or the source of your physical reality or, or illusion in that sense, because it's not permanent. It's impermanent. That's why it's an illusion, okay? But the source of, not realizing that the source of your physicality is your spirituality. A lot of folk think of this stuff in a very separative way. So they even presume that they already know what you mean by spirituality. And they make, but listen, we're physical beings as well, so we have to focus on the physical. There's this, there's that. What they're locked into is the survival mode, because, oh God, I got to survive and this and that. The way they've set up the system, okay? The system's been set up to keep you in bondage. There's always something outside of yourself that you have to depend upon. And there's always something outside of yourself you have to give something away to in order to get something, material, something to sustain you. You see what I'm saying? And it's limited, and it's also manipulative. You see what I'm saying? So this is how it keeps you in bondage, okay? And keeps you away from waking up to the true power within yourself, the creative force. That which, as I said, the ocean is in the wave, and the wave is in the ocean. So, but the ocean is greater than the wave. Like your soul, okay? Your soul has generated this mind, body, and all the sinews and everything. Yet what you're being taught in, especially with mainstream science and with the Western paradigm, colonization, and European materialism, coming from the Greeks, believing that matter was the substance of all things, when that wasn't the truth. That was a distortion of what they stole anyway out from what they call the Egyptian mysteries, or the Egyptian. Now the thing is here, look, no place named Egypt really exists. It was a Greek term that they, under Ptolemy, they called a little city in North Africa, one of these nomes, out of 42 nomes, one of these nomes, these little cities was called pt2, okay? And then when Ptolemy came in to be the first European to sack and control, you can say, that region of North Africa, he called that place Egyptus, all right? And this is where you've got the word Egypt derived today, okay? And then people take Egypt as a country in its own self, separate to Africa, okay? And this is important because when you go to talk about the mystery systems, when you go to talk about spirituality, when you want to talk about yoga, a lot of that from the West has been diverted away towards India, okay? So everybody, you heard the word yoga, and it's a Sanskrit word. It's Indian, okay? And yes, it means yoke and unite. But the thing is that that's one of the ways that the West have used to suppress knowledge that is more ancient than what they want you to focus on. Okay? Ethiopia is ancient, people. I mean, the Greeks, even in the annals of the Greeks' history, talk about how the Ethiopians were so high. They were gods, the most honest people. Yeah? And Ethiopia was the name given to the whole continent around that time. Okay? So, there's the source of spiritual wisdom teachings that came out of the came out of the mystery systems in ancient Kemet. And I use the word Kemet intentionally because to make that distinction between Egypt, okay, which is a Greek word, right? A word derived from Greek, all right? When Ptolemy sacked a little city, one of 42 cities, 42 nomes, he managed to control one of them cities, which was called Hakepata, the house of the living spirit of Ptah, okay? Even where do you get the word kapital from? When you're dealing with language, as I said in my previous show, even the language, you've been chatting about Amour, coming from Italian, and then French got it from the Italians, and then you got the Spanish, they have amore, you know what I mean, with an E at the end, and it all means love. I mean, the word literally translates to love, and usually it's human, romantic love, but actually the language goes back before the Italian, the Latin, you know, and you got these different aspects of Latin, okay? But when you go and trace back, you go find that you're gone out of Europe now, gone out of Greek, gone, yeah? You find that you're going into some old, ancient African dialects, okay? And even dialects that you got to remember, the Europeans would label and name other cultures, other quote unquote races, yeah, and then proceed to be an expert on what these other cultures were about. You know, how they saw, what their perception of reality was. And more time, the West just demonizes and speaks in a very derogatory way, distorts systems that they don't comprehend. So it's suppressed a lot of knowledge that could assist the world to be liberated from the bondage of Western mentality, Western colonialship. I mean, come on, everything is so material. And this is where I was saying about the conditioning of values and how values are going to come up to be transformed, right? I want to say something. So I'm saying, look, the soul is greater than this human coat you're talking about, identifying with. You know, some people love objects, okay? They worship objects. Objects cannot reciprocate your love. And they suffer because of their attachment to these objects, which, you know, they're impermanent. You can lose. I mean, you can love a car, but a car can't reciprocate your love. And that car can also be taken from you. So what you have is an orientation, use the word orientation, from the Western perspective of people being orientated to actually enforce and amplify this illusion, and therefore become more entrapped within it, and therefore experiencing more pain, more suffering, highs and lows. You're just going up and down like you're on a seesaw, you know? When it comes to a point where you want to get off of this, meaning you want to be liberated. And this is what it is. The soul is coming here to liberate itself from these forced attachments, from this illusion, from forced identification, you see, and wake up to itself and become fully realized. And this full realization takes place within the body, okay? This is the reason why the ancient Kemetians, they call Egyptians, focus more on the afterlife rather than this physical, particular transitory experience. And then you get the West explain things that, oh, look at them, they were so materialistic that they brought their gold into the chambers, they brought their chariots, they brought their this, they brought their that. This is materialistic people or mindsets projecting their ignorance, their materialism onto a more advanced culture that we're actually trying to let you know that the spiritual reality that the afterlife is more real than this, because they're explaining about basically the journey of the soul and what you have to liberate yourself from, and what makes you have to keep coming back here because of your attachments, because the soul is still identified with the mind, body, and all of what? Earthly desires and all of the mental desires that are associated to, that keeps pulling you back to the earthly plane. Okay? When the soul just wants to be fully liberated, because as I said, freedom was before bondage. And all of the teachings in any spiritual scriptures or any wisdom teachings was all pertaining to the liberation and salvation of your soul. Now, a lot of people just want to get drunk and party. And a lot of this is to suppress the deeper inner angst that they got going on, this deeper emptiness. What just come to mind? I was having a talk with a friend today, and she was asking my thoughts on something, just talking about something that happened to them, they experienced. But they said they went on the training, one of these training course is dealing with because they're into the healing and yoga and so forth. But they were saying that there was this therapist there who was talking to them, mentioned something about when you say to somebody, "Are you okay?" and people say, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." Well, this therapist was saying, "Do you know what the word fine means?" So what this person said to me is that the generic meaning, or do you want the generic meaning or the acronym of it? Basically, what it actually means when someone says they're fine. It turns out to being all right. I'm gonna use a word here. Fine breaks down to mean fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and empty. So a lot of people will want to divert themselves away from these feelings, not realizing that these feelings are coming up because of more of the egoic attachment, the egoic identification. When people feeling angry, that's the ego feeling angry. But the true you transcends all of that, you see? And really, yoga, smai, tawi, these are different words. Look, you got languages, you got other languages that have words for union in them. It's not just the word yoga that comes from the Sanskrit term, which means to yoke, which is relates to India. You see, remember Britain, okay, occupied India for about 400 years. I mean, 400 years. 300 years. Yeah, with that, Union Jack up there. All right. So a whole heap of things during that period of time was done to change a lot of things around. You can create false perceptions that people actually hold on to and believe is true because you got manufactured beliefs. Okay? Whoa. All right, some man gone, where'd he go? But I want to say something and tie this into the emotional state going on right now. A lot of folk is going through emotional anxiety and a lot of emotional outbursts and a lot of, just the emotional, the emotional body is getting activated because you got Mars in Cancer. Cancer, the astrological sign Cancer, is a water sign, relates to the feelings, but it relates to security, okay? Which is emotional security in it being water sign, and it's dealing with how we, it's dealing with emotional nurturing and love, okay? And it governs the fourth house, it governs the mother, it governs also who was the prominent female in your life. Did you experience emotional nurturing and love, or did you have a mother who was cold, or did you not experience emotional nurturing and being loved? All children expect to be emotionally nurtured and loved, okay? But that's not always the case. That's not always what's happening. And this goes back to our childhood, And I don't want to kind of keep everything's caught up from your childhood. But the thing is, we got to acknowledge the facts of certain things. A lot of people's issues does stem from that, okay? We got deeper soul memories from prior incarnations, which are also stored in the subconscious, that come up for its purging, okay, transformation. But we also have certain things that have continued from prior lifetimes. We've picked up where we've left off in this one. A lot of folk don't, understand that as a soul, you don't die. You're immutable. You're eternal. Okay? And the soul contains memories of all past prior lifetimes. Just like the ocean contains all history of every wave that is ever generated, that's ever emerged from it. Okay? Right? So, and water also holds on to vibrational information. Yeah? It holds on to memory. Water. Okay? You see, everything is really, your body is not even a solid. We're chatting about Earth and say you're human. Look, your body is really a waveform. Yeah, a waveform field of information, because energy is information, right? It's intelligence, it's consciousness, okay? So your body is a waveform. Hence why I correlated the ocean and the wave. Your body is a waveform field of information. So the waveform field, your body, when it comes to healing, when it comes to actually, when we're talking about health, your health is really more dependent on the harmony of the vibrational frequency of your electromagnetic energy field, right? That makes up your body. And you have energy fields that can interfere, right, with one another. And these energy fields that interfere can be either a constructive interference or a destructive interference. So what's happening with health, when we're chatting about remember, correlating this, you see, as I said, the ocean is in the wave and the wave is in the ocean. But the ocean is the source and the origin of the wave. The ocean is always there, where the wave, on the other hand, it's there and it's not there. You know what I'm saying? It comes and goes. But the ocean is constant, okay? So what I'm saying is that your soul is the wave, the ocean, and your body is the wave. Now, it's a wave field of energy. And that wave field of energy, in it being energy, its natural harmonious state of health is when you're dealing with harmonic frequencies, all right? When you have harmonic resonance, when that wave, that body is in harmonious alignment, you can say, with the ocean. The ocean that's generating it, and the frequency, the resonance that wave is vibrating at. I mean, everything's a wave, you know, sine waves, up and down, okay? You know, everything is a wave. People can use the terms of, oh, I feel this wave of energy moving through my body, or I felt this wave of heat just come up upon me, you know, or something. You see, you're using the term waves and I realize this is you. Your body is a wave. You know, your frequency, your waves, your tones, yeah? Your vibrations, man. So your body is this wave, and in order for it to be healthy, it's all about harmonic frequencies. When you're interfacing with a frequency that it creates a destructive interference rather than a constructive interference, then you experience dis-ease. You see? So in the future, and actually at present, the real healing is going to be vibrational and energetic. It's not going to be, well, it's not going to be what it is now, the methodology and the approach, which only deals with symptoms and not the cause, okay? And also gets you intoxicated, okay? On poisons, okay? Stuff that is unnatural and it's synthetic, man-made stuff, okay? Man-made stuff. But you have an immune system. You have an inbuilt immune system to heal anything that may come up, any discordant frequencies that you may end up getting caught up in. And in order for you to reestablish the harmonic frequency of your wave field, energy, form, call your body, yeah, to be reestablished. Okay? So everything is about this energy and this vibration. So I was talking about Cancer, and Mars is in Cancer. And I was talking last Tuesday about Gemini, okay? The new moon we've had in Gemini, and how the question here for that to ask yourself, and some Geminis have just had their solar return, some Geminis haven't solar return, you know what I mean? Yeah, all you Geminis, okay? You know, that new moon has just moved out was just in your sign. And really, there is a transformation here in your mental framework, everyone's mental framework. So what is your field of perception is going to be a good question, and what do you perceive reality to be? So this is what's coming up and is emotionally disturbing. You got Mars now in Cancer, and I said Cancer is about emotional nurturing. Cancer is about the emotional nurturing and love, and it's about the how you've established or how you perceive emotional security. Now, a lot of the things that we've been conditioned to depend upon for our security have been externalized. Look, let's start with just our parents. You know, a child is born, comes into a family. Now, some children, obviously, you know, things can happen. Parent passes away very early. Some children were given away due to circumstances and so forth. So they never really grew up with their parents. But whatever happened, they're still growing up as a child wherever they end up being placed. And as we all do, and then we look outside for that which we're depending upon for very basic things. Yeah? I mean, look, a child can't wipe its own ass. So a child would lay down in its nappy with soil in its nappy all day. If the parent, if a mother, if the carer didn't come, father or mother or carer didn't come to take care, right, of the child, of the baby. So it's depending upon what is external to it for its sense of fulfillment for food, if it's hungry, thirsty, clothing, you know, warmth, you know, to be housed. All of these is, you know, we all as a child, we grow up and we're depending upon that which is external to us for these things, okay? And how those relationships were developed, how we experience those early emotional imprints is what has created the sense of personal self-image, as I said in some other shows. The personal self-image that is constructed from early childhood. You know, some people, as I said, are brought up in foster homes, okay? Now, your belief, yeah? The belief you have shapes your perception. And more times, your beliefs from young until you become aware enough to start to question those beliefs, which come from external sources, whether they be parents or society and culture, okay? Until you begin to become more aware, you know, you seek to become more aware of yourself, you may not question none of these beliefs. And you may believe that because you absorb this stuff as well. So as you absorb this information that's being sent to you externally, you're forming a certain perception about yourself. And the perception you have about yourself also formulates what? Your personal self-image. So this is how your ego construct gets developed from young, okay? But your ego construct isn't you. It's that part of you that is being identified. The soul's identifying with the mind, identifying with the body, which is being conditioned, okay, and programmed by external sources. Now, we all grow up, and you know, people have, if they haven't worked through this stuff, then the majority of people are walking around with displaced emotions. Displaced emotions. And because of unresolved emotional issues that have nothing to do with the adults now that they are accusing and blaming, the displaced emotions coming from unresolved emotional issues of childhood surrounding the whole aspect of emotional nurturing and love. You see? And one I was just gonna pause a second, y'all. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this emotional nurturing, okay, and love, and to be loved or feeling loved or being loved, emotional nurturing and love is very vital, like water is to a plant to grow, okay? And we ain't any different to that, okay? What you need to grow. So there's that which grows you, and then there is that which can hinder your growth or wither you, okay? Or, yeah, to the point where it arrests your development. There was a group back in the 90s called Arrested Development. I don't know if any of y'all familiar, remember that, hear that. But Arrested Development, I thought, what a group, what a name, back them times. But that's true. We've had a lot of stuff that has arrested our development. You get put in a handcuff, and now you're in bondage to this conditioning that has not nourished, emotionally nurtured, nourished, or loved you. You see what I'm saying? So your perception of yourself stems from what you believe. And as I said, most of our beliefs, systems have come from sources outside of ourselves. Now, let me clarify something more. As I said, your body is a wave, and the analogy of the ocean being your soul and the wave being your body form, yeah? Your wave, because your body is a waveform, okay? Your body's a waveform. So what I'm saying here now is that when you're now dealing with unresolved emotional childhood stuff that gets displaced now on your relationships, okay? Now, let me go back to this thing about Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal sign, so it initiates, okay? You have a main stream, yeah, a main highway, and then you look at it. All right, look at the veins in a leaf. You got this main highway going right through the middle of the leaf, and then you got these branches, these other avenues sprouting off from the main avenue. Okay, right? So those avenues being sprouting off from the main avenue. These are like these are initiatives. These are what you could say is a cardinal sign because it initiates new directions. Okay? So cardinal signs being Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra, they're the initiating signs. Okay? So they start something new. But however, there's also a controlling aspect with it too. A controlling. Cancerians, Capricorn can be very controlling because it's this cardinal sign. It wants it's this authoritativeness. I mean, look, Cancer is a mother, okay? Is to deal with the emotional nurturing. Well, there's the authoritative position the mother will have. Capricorn relates to the father, limits and bounds and authority. Well, you see what I'm saying? So there's control there. You know what I'm saying? It wants to control. You got Aries, which is about I want to be who I am. Want to know who I am. I need the freedom and independence to be my true self. Yeah. So Aries can be very instinctual. It acts instinctively, and it's always representing a new beginning, new start, starting something fresh, starting something new. Hence, Aries can be like what they say from a personality level. They're pioneers. You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to deal with Libra, and Libra is about trying to find a balance because it's imbalanced, okay? So that's how it's going to find the balance between the opposites because Libra can go to extremes. One side, extreme to one side, or the other side. You see what I mean? And they have to find this balance. And it also deals with the diversity of relationships. That's Libra, okay? So, and you know how relationships can be controlling. One could be the dominant and the other one could be the submissive in a relationship. Okay? So these are cardinal signs that they're controlling. They initiate. Okay? So what you get now with this Cancer, and you got which means to preserve. That's what the word means, to preserve. And it's quite uncanny how the dis-ease called Cancer is spelt the same way as the sign, which is giving you a sign to let you know that Cancer is generated by the feelings, the non-nurturing feelings, non-loving, non-nurturing emotional feelings that people actually keep themselves in on a daily basis. Okay? Yeah, from their belief to it shapes their perception of themselves and others. This is what's bringing on the emotional state. Okay? What has structured their individual consciousness to manifest such a state, yeah, in themselves. Now, mainstream science wants to keep telling you that there's no cure for cancer and that. Because remember, mainstream science and this whole society is built up on vampirism, is built upon, feeding off of using people's pain in order to gain, okay? Nothing they do can cure you. However, they expect you to only go about their methodologies, their ways in trying to get better, right? But the thing is that if they already admit that they can't cure you, so why are people so caught up in it? Because of fear. And you don't know enough about yourself, so you leave that to somebody else to be responsible to know more about your body, your anatomy, your vehicle, okay, more than you do. So it's just like, you're driving a car and you don't know much about the car, but you just know how to drive it. So if anything goes wrong with the car and it breaks down, you got to take it to somebody who knows more about the car than you do, all right, in order to get it fixed, roadworthy again, so you can drive it, all right? So there's this limitations when you have limited knowledge of yourself. Then you're going to be depending upon those who profess to have more knowing about what they want to say you are, yeah, than you do. And there you are, hand yourself over to these folk who don't know nothing, okay? Or they actually know that their corporations don't benefit and profit through cures. It profits through just managing illnesses. So you've got a steady customer. You know what I mean? You got a steady customers. You got customers always coming to you. So you feed off of people's pain. You don't do nothing to really relieve and alleviate, to even eradicate their suffering in order to restore wholeness. You see, that's not the approach in this society. Okay? It's to keep you in bondage. You see what I'm saying? So this thing with cancer, back to this thing, Mars beating cancer, is going to be very emotional, hot shit coming up. People feeling also tired and lethargic and not feeling motivated or feeling anxieties coming up. Because all of this is pertaining to the emotional body, and it's how important it is to how you feel. It's not about, you can think you're secure, but that's not going to be as powerful as feeling secure. You see what I'm saying? So back to this thing, as I said, these cardinal signs can be controlling, okay? So what happens is that when you're dealing with cancer now, and you're dealing with the mother, you're dealing with the home, you're also dealing with countries, you're also dealing with the land, you're also dealing with culture, right? My mother tongue, my mother country, you know what I'm saying? And so these also become representations of what cancer's about, how you feel emotionally about yourself, what you're using to identify, whether it is nation, whether it's a country, whether it's culture. See how it goes, right? Inheritance, you inherited things that's passed on to you. Now, everything you've inherited ain't good, ain't harmonious, okay? There's congenital transference, which is basically inherited conditions, right? That people can pass on in the forms in their cells, in their genes, pass on these genes that have cells that operate in a kind of dysfunctional way based upon what was going on in one's predecessors, one's descendants or ancestors, okay, who before them. And you can also pass on congenitally these conditions, okay? But remember, these conditions stemmed from beliefs. Because your belief shapes your perceptions, and you're dealing with neurotransmitters now. They transmit the messages to your cells as thoughts and feelings that your body now responds as sensations to the message. And your cells are going to operate based upon the cue. It's being given, okay, the orders, the instruction, yeah, to function in a particular way or dysfunction in a particular way, all based upon the information it's deriving from the way what you're sending to it, your own inner talk. Now, when you're dealing with Cancer, back to this, it represents the home, okay? You got this crab, and it goes into its shell like a tortoise, carries its home on its back. Now, what many people do, we look at these signs and we look at things, we listen to things, and most of the time we think of external things. So the external home, okay? We look at nurturing or emotional nurturing and love. We look at outside of ourselves. You know, the nurse must do that. You know what I mean? Someone else must do that, you know? Now, when we're a young child, you know, you're going to need all of this. We're going to need all of this external support, which should freely come if you're dealing with a loving parent, okay? Right? Understanding that doesn't always take place. But what I'm saying to you here is that rather than just looking externally towards what these signs represent, like your home, the mother, right? External sources of emotional nurturing and love, okay? Security, being in the home, you feel secure when you listen, man, when you're out all day, okay? When you get back home, man, you feel, yeah, take off your shoes, take off your jacket, take off even your clothes and just get into something more comfortable and relaxing. You feel emotionally secure in your house. Differently to when you're going to step out there, you know, Dag, you're going to have to encounter, the world out there, and you may experience some anxiety or irritation because you're going to come into contact with different kind of people, okay? And, you know, a lot of people are stressed throughout the day through their journeys and the environments that they have to hang out or, you know, where they're working or whatever. For the day. So when they get home, there's that, there's that letting go, dashing off. I mean, for some folk, it can be a continual job. You get home and then depends, you know, you may have the children to deal with and contend with. And you may not get no time for yourself until maybe 9 in the evening, you know, when the youth is asleep. And now, you may say you can relax. But here's the thing. The point I'm making is that the home, the mother, that which makes you feel secure, whether it's your country, all of that which makes you feel secure external to you, what Cancer represents is it's not about how you're living in the house outside of you. It's not about your attachment to external sources of emotional nurturing and sources of love. You know? You see, as we grow, we all grow up as children, you know, from childhood to as they going through adolescence into adulthood. And I've already talked about those words, you know, but I won't digress here. So you growing up, and what happens, you know, from a little baby to a 7-year-old, and from a 7-year-old to 14, and then from 14, you know, to 21, and then from 21 to 28, okay, you're going through a cycle of sevens of growth, maturity, you know, development, first of your physical body. But when your physical body has gone to its point of growth and development, you ain't done. You ain't grown. You ain't done growing and maturing yet. Because now that continuation of growth and maturity is what's taking place on the inside. So you're dealing with your physical body, but then you got an emotional body, and then you got a mental, and then you got your spiritual, you see? And these are all actually integrated. And these are different stages of the awareness of yourself. And the highest point is the spiritual, because it's the ocean where the mental and emotional and physical emerge from, okay? If I'm going to put it that way. So we depend upon these external sources and, what people didn't get from their parents, unresolved emotion or unresolved emotional situations. It's created a lot of emotional, people are walking around a whole heap of unresolved stuff and displaced emotions. And when I say displaced, because it's usually in a relationship that this displaced emotion gets acted out, gets projected, or gets vented out on the other individual. And they both may be doing it, okay? And you think you're mature and grown up, but it's that child, that unresolved stuff going on. And grown-ups, so-called grown-ups, big so-called adult people, man, they get on worse than children, okay? No, be real with it, So, but the point I'm getting to here is that there's this emphasis on the external home, external, everything's external. And I understand that, you get this dependency. But when you get to a certain age, you got your own legs, you got your arms, you got your body, you got your digestive system, you got your own circulatory system, nervous system, your brain, heart, you got all of that. You got it all, okay? But you're still learning how to use it. So until you are getting efficient in how to use it, you're depending on someone to pick you up and carry you around, dress you, feed you, wash you, clean you, you know what I'm saying? Play with you, all of that type of stuff. You're depending on that. But as you're growing, you're learning to walk. So as you're learning to walk and become, you internalize in yourself by how to do it because you're watching others. Now you start to use your own legs. You start to kind of operate your own body more efficiently. Okay? So now you don't need others to pick you up, to carry you around the place. You don't need nobody to wipe your ass for you. As you grow up, you learn how to do that for yourself. You know how to take yourself to the bathroom. You know how to jump into the bath and the shower and do an ablution and freshen yourself and clean yourself, right? These things you have to learn to do for yourself, before you were depending on an external source. But as you notice, you're growing to learn how to do these things for yourself, okay? So what I'm getting to here is that when it comes down to the emotional nurturing now, the emotional body, the emotional nurturing, we have to come to the point where we have to also understand that we have to be the ones to become the parent to our own selves. We have to know how to emotionally nurture ourselves. We have to know how to love ourselves. Now, here we go. When you deal with Cancer, the sign, as I said, it pertains to the house, the home, and the mother. Pertains to countries and the motherland and culture. You see what I'm saying? Inheritance, heritage, okay? All of that stuff's associated with it. But as I said already, not everything that's passed on is for your benefit. Some of the things that do get passed on are for your detriment if you hold on to it, okay? Now, some people don't question what they've inherited. They don't think for themselves. So they will continue and perpetuate certain states. It will just continue. But now when we're talking about the home, how are you living at home? How was your home life like when you were a child? All that type of stuff, Well, you got to also understand that you are your home. You see, when I was growing up, and I've said this on my show many times, it was a thing about you house a child's body, but you don't house a child's soul. This is what old folks, this is, those old folks' wise proverbs, having Jamaican parents or, parents that generations in the island of Jamaica and so forth, other in Madagascar and America and so forth. The thing is, you're going to hear certain things when you're a child growing up, all right? So that was one of them. So now you don't house a child's body, you don't house you may house a child's body, but you don't house a child's soul. Okay, that thing. So what this is now saying to you now here, when I'm getting to this Cancerian, because it's all about these emotions and feeling. A lot of people feeling a lot of stress and anxiety and anger and shit's coming up. Okay, as you have to, as you're going through a mental, the change, a transformation in your mental framework. Okay, new moon in Gemini. Yeah, what I was saying last Tuesday, and that's going to bring up some emotional stuff, isn't it? Right. But when you look at these signs, it's not about outside all the time. It's not about how you lived and how you brought up at home, external to you. Now it's about how are you living within yourself on a day-to-day basis. This is what this is going to be bringing up, really. How are you living? How are you living in yourself? How are you existing in your body? How are you existing in yourself, in your body? Yeah, your own house on a day-to-day basis. So what I mean by that is that, look, a lot of us, you can't, go back to when you're 5, things that you may have felt deprived of or didn't receive. Well, you can't at 45, 50 something, 40, go sit back on, mama's knee who's now, or papa's knee who may have may have done the transition, or your mama's in her, later years, and you expect to be sat on the knee and, oh, sorry, baby, like you're going to get all of what you felt you didn't receive. Listen, man, you see, people even get into terrible situations with family issues, blaming a parent, like, things you didn't do for me and things you did do and that weren't good and all of this and that. And you think you're going to get a resolve through talking it out with them, and more times they may not even remember what you're chatting about. Because, you see, people are changing, and they can even forget the things they did to you when you were little youth. And now you're a big 40, 50 years young, and you still got that stuff going on, and you want to resolve stuff with your parents. I mean, look, y'all, even if you got a sorry, even if you did get an apology, does that feeling you still got going on inside of you just disappear like that? No, man, you still got it to contend with, okay? And maybe if you did get an apology, maybe that weren't enough. Now you want, something more, That ain't, I want you to really say, apologize and mean it, and then, getting into all of this stuff. Now, here's the thing about healing here. If you keep looking to external sources to be what you need to resolve whatever you felt you did not have enough lap time in, and what has affected your emotional sense of self-esteem, you have to realize that it's not about looking out there as you grow and become, a parent yourself. You have to grow to the point, just like you grow to the point from a child, from a little baby into, a child to a youth to a young adult, how to depend on your own feet, not somebody else's feet to carry you around. Depend upon your own hands to dress you and feed you and do the things that others were doing for you when you were a little baby. You couldn't do it yourself, okay? You all know you have to, we grew up and had to do these things for ourselves, all right? Well, it also deals with the parenting. Cancer being about emotional nurturing is about how are you emotionally nurturing yourself. A lot of people complain about how other people are treating them and what other people have said and how other people, people are caught up in their egoism, isn't it? So they're going to do things that's hurtful. They're going to, it's a part of the human experience, okay? It's part of the human condition, what you call human life, yeah? But you get to a point where you're going to have to realize you got to be the parent for yourself. You're going to have to be the one to emotionally nurture yourself and love yourself. Now, how do you do that? Now, when you were younger, you may have heard people say things to you, which you may have took on from external sources and believed, which then shaped your perception of yourself, which then manifested what you wouldn't prefer, okay? Which was reflecting to you what you manifested, what you believed, that shaped your perception of yourself that then when it manifests, you felt more that way, okay, of how you felt about yourself. And yes, others have said things and, external sources. Let me clarify something here. When I'm saying external sources, okay, I think you get it when I'm chatting about your parents and so forth, all right, and siblings. But I'm going to take it to a next level. I said that your body is a wave, okay? And everything is energy, consciousness energy. That's what it is. Not mechanical energy, consciousness energy. And we are also the organic, okay, living, all right, natural receiver transmitters. We're aerials, okay? Every atom gives off energy and receives the energy, the same energy it gives off. This is why like energy attracts like energy, okay? So an atom gives off energy. You've heard that your hair is an antenna. Wherever cell in your body has receptors on it. So your whole body, your whole system is a antenna, is a receiver and transmitter receiving unit, okay? So from the inside out, you generate and transmit and receive and align up with that energy, like energy, that is harmonious with the energy you're putting out, okay? Now you have external manufactured aerials, receiver transmitters, okay? Before it was them radio towers. Now you got, your cell phone towers. You got your TVs, all right? You've got technology, all mannerisms of different levels of computers, laptops, tablets, all right? You got the social media and new social media, all right? Internet and all of this as well. So all of these are sources of transmission, okay? These are like sources, external sources to you. And they're transmitting energy to you. And you, being a receiver transmitter, receive those energies, consciously or unconsciously, okay? And the thing is, with the difference with the external sources is that this is what I mean by manufactured beliefs. They manufacture thoughts. They manufacture feelings because you're dealing with frequencies. And they can transmit the frequency of anger, the frequency of hate, okay? They can transmit thoughts which start to be combined turn into belief systems, the things you believe. For example, mainstream science has said it over and over via books and their outlets that they use to communicate with the public. They've told you over and over and over and over and over again, you're human. Mainstream science. Now, you got folk who will turn around and walk around and believe they're human, as if to say they went to sleep one night, woke up next day with this epiphany. Dag, I'm a human, all right? And it never happened like that. It was pumped into you, okay? External manufactured sources pumped it into you. So you get people carrying manufactured beliefs and defending these beliefs as if to say they came from themselves, like it was an intrinsic belief that came naturally from within themselves, when it's not, okay? Now, this is what's going on. It's happening from the outside, these manufactured, all right, beliefs that shapes your perception of yourself and what's your perception of reality to be, okay? It also limits your field of perception, okay? So you got that going on externally. And then you got you, which is a living, divine, yeah? A living divine antenna, okay? Receiver, transmitter. And what you send out to what you comes back to you, you have an infinite span. You have an infinite field because your soul is the universe, is the divine reality, okay? As I put the soul as the ocean and the manifested form that you see as visible as our bodies looking at each other on this plane, that's the wave, okay? So how am I correlating this up to what I'm chatting about, Cancer and the moon and what you're dealing with, the moon rules Cancer, it governs it. That's why you see it's maternal, it's emotional. Okay, it's about emotional security. But Mars is transiting through it now, and I'm talking in the context how, people are dealing with a lot of emotional angst, anxiety, and, some people you think had it all together and, seem to be, very emotionally centered, flipping out. Things are... So all of this is coming up because what's coming up here is this. As I said, we have to grow to a point where we become our own parent. You cannot rely and depend upon these external sources that represented to you the qualities you need to feel within, and that is dependent upon those external sources in order for you to feel that way. And because Cancer is about emotional nurturing and love, it's about how are you emotionally nurturing and loving yourself. Now, a lot of people don't realize that what you think and say to yourself based upon what you believe that has shaped your perception to how you think and feel, or feel and think toward yourself, hence now, we're chatting about cancer, the disease cancer, and they give you all this stuff about the cure of cancer and all this stuff about cancer, when it's actually generated from within your belief systems to how you feel, because cancer is dealing with your emotional body. Cancer is a trine to Pisces and Scorpio. So now we've been conditioned to look outside of ourselves to what society teaches you about that you need to obtain for your emotional security. You see, as we grow up, we have to spiritually, we have to come to the point where we have to internalize emotional security. And certain people's stuff is coming up for flip-flap. It's flipping out. Because there's unresolved issues from childhood that gets displaced into our adulthood that then gets acted out, and we accuse those who are in our lives now as them being the source of your lack of emotional nurturing and feeling loved, okay? Now, we all, love is an essential thing. Love is like, as I said, you can say, look, man, it's what nourishes and grows you, or there's stuff that actually withers you and destroys you. And criticism, harsh, hurtful words, judgment, fear, all of that stuff, that kills you. That withers you. It doesn't keep you healthy. A lot of people don't realize that how they communicate, how they're existing inside of themselves. Not in your house. Not in your external house with a roof over the head and this couch and whatnot you got there. I'm talking about your inner house. That which you always carry with you, just like the crab, just like the turtle. Yeah? You're walking around in your house. How are you existing from day to day in your house? Are you emotionally, lovingly, emotionally nurturing yourself? What do you say to yourself? What kind of thoughts do you hold on to? If you're holding on to beliefs about other people, these beliefs have shaped your perception. These feelings are being generated in you first. If you're feeling angry because you're very much identified with the egoic personality, not realizing it's the ego that gets angry, who you are is infinite calm and peace, and that's what you're working towards, coming to that realization. Okay, so you can transcend the egoic distractions, the diversions, to keep you in lower states. So how you're living inside yourself is what's going on here. How are you existing from day to day inside of you? How do you feel? What's the source of your emotional nurturing now? Who's to be? Now as a big, you're a big person. You're you're grown. You may be a mother or father yourself. Huh? So who you looking for your nurturing? I mean, who you think is responsible for your emotional nurturing and of yourself and to be loved? Who do you think? You have people whose parents, they're gone. They've made that transition. They're no longer physically present here with you. You get people that still hold on to that emotional attachment, that insecurity, because you see, you end up becoming attached to that which you find you're depending on a sense of security from. Okay, so if it's external, the more you attach to that external thing, the more the insecurity also exists there, because the fear of losing it, okay, or it leaving you, or so so you got these anxieties that are going to come up because deep down the source of your emotional security has not been internalized, it's externalized. So this is where the anxiety can come in and so forth, and why there's emotional turbulence. Not saying everyone is going to be experiencing it this way, but I'm speaking for those who have been experiencing this turbulence, okay? Wondering what the heck's going on. And maybe they could be ones who haven't, they've been maybe suppressing a lot of things. They haven't really been doing much of the work. They've just been living very much in the egoic dimension of themselves. And now certain things are coming up with intensity that is overwhelming to the ego. And everything they thought they had already sorted out is just falling apart. And they're not so sure anymore. So what you got is this need to parent ourselves, need to emotionally nurture and love ourselves, and your emotional body. You see, some even women I've heard kind of talk about emotions and emotional body, like, oh, that's something you gotta, you gotta strangle and dash, throw it, put some chains to it and some weight and dash it in the water so it can never surface again. You know what I mean? It's like your emotional body is powerful, but you have to channel those emotions. You see? You have to channel those emotions. So I'm bringing this all back to the soul here. I'm dealing with, everything is interconnected. Everything is interrelated in what I've been talking about this evening. So just a little catch up about, I was saying earlier about the soul, talking about the values we hold on to, which are coming up for transformation. I talked the last Tuesday about how Amour, love, actually breaks down to be the light, the soul's light, yeah? Your soul is love, right? I mentioned that how I think it's Amore comes from Italian. You got Amore, A-M-O-R-E is Italian, A-M-O-R is Spanish, and A-M-O-U-R is French. I've even seen that spelling changed as well. You know what I mean? In the sense that, that's not even accurate all the time, because you see the spelling different and assigned to Italian, which anyway. But anyway, the point being is that you got Amor, all of the, whether it's Italian, Spanish, or French, what it means breaks down to the soul's light. So love is about the soul. The soul is love. Okay? Now, I will flow into this. You see, because there is a great need within ourselves to love. Meaning, what I'll come into here now, because the soul, the ego may deny a lot of this stuff, or what we're calling love, which ain't love. But there's deep within the heart of every human being, because you want to call yourselves that. So, all right, deep within the heart of every human being, there is an innate desire to love. And this desire is often expressed, though, in limited ways. Loving individuals, objects, jobs, etc. What is really desired, though, by the soul is to express unlimited love. And therefore, any limitation of love would constitute a falling short of that possibility to achieve emotional fulfillment. Emotional fulfillment. So one should understand that if the emotional aspect of oneself is harnessed and channeled, it can be a formidable force towards self-discovery or remembrance of who you truly are. Okay? But we've been told our emotions is something that you need to kind of get, you need to kind of, I mean, they even go so far as you know, you even got certain movies, or you got, all right, what's his name? Spock in Star Trek. Just logic, okay? Logic, rationale, intellect, logic, yeah? Emotions have been eradicated. Because you got these concepts where people believe that it's the emotions, you see? Because of the emotions, this is where things go mad and people do, crazy things and mad up and irrational, as the emotions, the logic says, the emotions is logical. So you get all this idea about emotions and this bad rap on it for real, yeah? And the thing is, emotions, you're dealing with an emotional body, and this is how your soul evolves or grows and expands through emotions, energy and motion, okay? Everything is energy, right? But because more times people identify with egoic emotions and the manufactured beliefs and perceptions, thoughts and feelings that they're getting pumped with from external sources, not realizing that you're a transmitter receiver and you got these external manufactured transmitter receivers trying to mimic you, and they're trying to shape your perception of yourself through pumping all these ideas that you're supposed to believing in. And as long as you believe in that, you got a tight jacket around you, and you're not waking up to the internal truth of you, okay? Everything's being externalized and then attached onto, and then fear and all of this insecurity is really what we're calling love, okay? But, your emotions, when channeled, harnessed, okay, can become a formidable force towards remembrance of yourself or self-discovery. See, the true self is the true objective of all love. This is the thing. Your true self is the objective of all love, okay? Your true self. So when you love a person, you are really, this is what's happening. When you're loving a person, from what I said about last Tuesday about Amour, the soul's light, and I broke that down, you just listen to it. You just go and listen to it if you haven't listened to it already. So now I'm just expounding on this to say that, well, when you're loving a person, you're really loving the soul, okay? Now the soul, hey, check it out. The soul is what you're going to be calling God, okay? But you've been told this God is up in the sky and it's outside of you and something totally different from your innermost nature, yeah? So your soul is God. Gosh. But yet, still looking at pictures of, some grown Jesus. Wow, man. Still dealing with some external ideologies and mental concepts of what you believe God is when dwells within you all the time as the innermost reality of yourself, your innermost being, your innermost self, not your egoic self. I, the innermost self, not my egoic self, am one with the innermost reality of all existence. That's what you need to say to yourself. Acknowledge these deeper truths and decondition your subconscious from all these manufactured belief systems and erroneous perceptions, and you know what I mean? So when your emotions are channeled, they become powerful towards self-discovery, okay? And when you're loving someone, if you're loving a person, you have to know that if you're saying you're loving them, you're really loving the soul, which is the sustaining reality of that person, okay? And when you love an object, again, you're really loving the soul, which is, again, the sustaining reality of that object, okay? Clothes can either last long or tear up really quick, depending on the person. It's energy. Depending on who owns that clothes. Yeah? Their energy can either make that clothes last and look new, even though it's 5 or 7 years old. Whereas somebody could buy something, and within a few days, the thing's all tore up. You know, it's just looking disheveled. Because your own energy permeates everything. And it also has an influence upon the objects around you. And things can either, you can even talk to a plant. A plant will respond to you, okay, based on the energy you're putting out, you know? So you're putting out energy that also can sustain and maintain the objects around you to last longer. Or your energy that you're putting out can make these objects crack, break, wither. You know what I'm saying? You can even lose things because of your energy. So when you're talking about even an object, if you're loving an object, oh, I really love this pen, oh, I really love this, what somebody's given you, you're loving the, really you're loving the soul of it, which is the divine reality that sustains it. We're talking about life itself, the divine life itself. Huh? When that innermost aspect of you withdraws its consciousness, its attention, its awareness from the body, your body can't do nothing. Yeah? Ain't got no animation, no life in it. Rigor mortis sets in. You see? So the soul is the reality sustaining, or the sustaining reality, yeah, of a person, or the life energy in some object, okay? So when you're loving someone, you're really loving the soul, okay? And this is what devotional yoga enables you to realize and connect with, realize your oneness with source, okay? So the object, so this is the object. So this is the basis of the discipline known as, what I said to you, Bhakti yoga, which is devotional yoga. It's just that it's called Bhakti in Indian, okay? So what it is, this thing about love and about your soul, and the different things going on, the need to know how to nurture, emotionally nurture ourselves and love ourselves, parent our own selves, be the father, mother, yeah? Love it to yourself. This is all about how you now have to internalize the emotional security, the emotional empowerment. You see, psychologically empowered and emotionally empowered. You have to internalize all of this now. It has to be coming from within you as the source of where it's coming from, which is independent on external sources. Now, that seems a bit, to the ego personality, that will seem a bit like, what do you mean? A bit ridiculous, could be. Because, are you saying we don't need nobody? Like anyone outside? You don't need no one? It's like, it's because, you see, because the concepts you hold in our mind about, even about need and the source of our supply as being out there, and how you interact with another. Usually people interact with another to get something that they feel they're deprived of or they don't have within themselves. But you see, when you internalize emotional security, internalize emotional empowerment, okay? Internalize source. You're not looking outside to be making some connection to some flipping mental concept that being generated in the minds of human, yeah? That just, keeps you locked down still, separate, and vibrating at reacting and identifying with the egoic mind, okay? You see, all that just keeps you stuck in that. But when you're talking about the source, internalize all of this. You see, when you come to another, you're looking to share. You're looking to you're looking to share with another who resonates with you, or you're looking to share what you have. This whole idea about my cup is fulleth and runneth over, Well, the cup is the container for what is being filled with and overrunning, okay? It's a way of letting you know that your source, you see, source within you will run you over, will overflow you, you see? And that's what propels you to want to share, to want to give. You connect, you come together, you come towards another in a different way. Your motivation is coming from a different place, basically. That's what I'm saying. And that's what the difference is. You know? So love involves deeper, greater, and greater attachment, really, to source, to soul, okay? First, by learning about soul, or learning about God, yeah, through spiritual wisdom teachings, and from there, developing conviction that there truly is an entity which transcends all. See, a lot of people don't have that kind of conviction. They have a belief, they have faith in something external to them. But through wisdom teachings or scriptures and so forth, because this is the things you got to tune into. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna go and fill up your car with some petrol or diesel, you go to a gas station, right? That you can fill it up with a petrol, that gas or diesel, right? You wouldn't take your car to a car wash, because the car wash is going to wash your car. So what I'm basically saying is, you got to tune in to the information that you want to nurture yourself with, that's going to assist you to come into that knowing of who you are. You want spiritual wisdom teachings, all right? You see, ordinary love for objects is limited. And if you love a car or a house, it cannot reciprocate. And you could even lose it, yeah? And similarly, if you love a human being, sometimes they cannot reciprocate either, due to their own egoism or impairment. You know, they could be damaged in some way, or their death. You know what I'm saying? They die, yeah? And they may someday even hate you. So this limitation on this perception of love from the ego state, this is what people are running around in. My point is here, I'm saying that it's about waking up to the soul love of yourself. And even that's like, gosh, you know, people think, well, you know, they don't identify the soul as themselves. They would say like, okay, yeah, we have souls, isn't it? We have souls. You know what I mean? You know, you put it in the same category as like, you know, you have clothes, you have some money, you have some things laying about, you know. You have these possessions, you know. You got some change in your pocket, you got some money in your wallet. Yeah, we got a soul. Now, the thing is that you don't have a soul. You don't have a soul. You are the soul. See, that's a big difference when you're talking about something here, about the soul, the nature of the soul, which is called Atman or Atma in Indian. Yeah, in Kemet you got you know the Ba, the Ka. You know, in Yoruba you got your Ori. You know, which is pertaining to your head. You know, and it's interesting. Ori also links to rising and where you get the word original from. You know. So you see you see what I'm saying? A lot of these languages, a lot of the words go back to African languages, African dialects that you take as Western. Think Western is the origin of things. A lot of it goes back to ancient civilizations, which is being used to build the preceding generations, generations or civilization that comes up after it. I mean, so it's all coming from what was gone before. And then during that time, things have been distorted because, you know, when your agenda is to manipulate and keep people in bondage rather than to facilitate their freedom, then the system has to be systematically designed that way to keep you in bondage. It's not about you being free. And as I said, freedom was before bondage. Anyway, maybe this evening, some of what I said might have seemed like I was doing a bit of a rant, but it's like everything interconnects, and when I'm talking, something else could flow in there, and I think, oh, if I don't say that now, I'm going to forget that and be, saying something else. So I'm just trying to tie everything in. So this Mars in Cancer is emotionally bringing up stuff in folk, but it's to understand that what's bringing up, as I said, Cancer is about emotional nurturing and love. Okay? Feel. But not all of us have had emotional nurturing and wasn't loved. And some of us may have felt that's what we have had, but we're looking outside of ourselves as an external source to that. So you get some people that don't even want to, they're big, big, big people. They don't want to live too far away from their parents. They're big people now. You know what I mean? They're in their, they still, I don't want to live too far away from mama or daddy. You see? I'm not saying that, those who live very close to their parents and, is the wrong thing. Some people in their 60s, they're still living at home with their mother, And, you have to understand the background of those individuals to understand why they're so attached like that. You know what I mean? But you see, that external attachment, if you don't develop internal emotional security, become your own parent, learn how to emotionally nurture and love yourself. When these external attachments go, this is where people get a lot of psychological emotional fallout. They drop out, because their source of emotional security or psychological emotional empowerment was dependent upon that which was external to them, like a child. And a child, if they lost a parent at an early age, they can grow up feeling a sense of abandonment. You know what I'm saying? And all of this just keeps you in the human egoic domain, where this world feeds off your pain. It makes money out your pain. I'm laughing like it's funny, but it is, some of it's just, it is a bit hilarious when you see it from a more broader perspective and higher point of view. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up for this evening. And excuse me, got a tickly throat. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up for this evening because there's got some other things have to be done. So this evening, this was basically part 2, if I still continue from a previous show on the same thing as such, but expounding more into it, then is a part 2, of what that previous show was about. So, but I'm going to call it a night tonight. I'm going to rest upon it. There's a lot there you can digest and contemplate, but I think next Tuesday I'm gonna talk a bit more about this whole path of divine love, because you see, there's many different systems of yoga, and a lot of folk, when you're dealing with the West, I have to say that because it's been true. You see, the West takes things spiritually, and turn it into a commercialize it, and now it's like giving people chicken soup, but there's no chicken in it. It's watered down in order for it to become a business, which facilitates the very same egoic state that yoga is actually designed to enable you to transcend. And there's different forms of yoga or different ways to come to the realization, self-discovery of your oneness with all that is, and to realize directly your transcendental nature. Yeah. Because everything, your ego, your mind, your body, it's all the ideas, the mental concepts, all of this exists in time, space, and matter. And what has a beginning has an ending. Okay? What has a form will eventually change. You see? And space. Well, space is also created too, as a place to put that which has been created, given form to, which then sets the beginning of that thing, time. You see what I mean? For its existence, which within it, existing within time and space and matter, is limited. Where your true self transcends time, space, and matter. You see? Okay, my soul brothers and sisters. Yes. Okay, I was given a flyer to read out. So I'm gonna read this out before I close in my show. And okay, this flyer, what I'm gonna read out here is for Auntie Jean. Is Auntie Jean's ACM presents the third Garvey Village Enterprise Family Fundraiser concert. So this is promoted by the Garvey Village and presented by Auntie Jean. And this is going to be on Saturday, the 6th of July, 2019. From 12 p.m. afternoon to 11 p.m. at night. Raffle prizes, and surprises are also going to be revealed. It's at St. Lawrence Center, which is at 37 Bromley Road, SE6 2TS. There will be children's entertainment, film, storytelling, STEM activities, and magic. Tickets are £10 in advance or £15 at the door. £1 for children at the door. So for further information, call Auntie Jean on 07 961 886 03D. That is 07 961 886 03D. So that is to, you can call Auntie Jean, speak to her direct, and this information is basically for the event that is going to be taking place on Saturday the 6th of July 2019 from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Garvey Village Enterprise Family Fundraising Concert. Okay? So that's for y'all who listening, you feel you want to go down there, check it out, be a part of it, then you got the information there. And I'll just read out Auntie Jean's number again if you all want to make direct contact and so forth. Her number is, Auntie Jean's number is 07 961 886 03D. Okay? So yes, so now it's to say a good night. It's to bid you a good shadow hour. And my motto that I begin to start to use at the end of my shows now is accept and expect the best from yourself, and expect, you draw out the best out of others, by being the best that you can be, and also accepting and expecting the best. Because we got this really nasty attitude when it's like, something good. You hear people say, oh, such and such is too good to be true. But something ain't too bad to be true, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've been conditioned to, even glorify negativity, criticism, and even when youths are having and you're doing rapping, and you're gonna say you're gonna give praise and to a child. Look at them rapping, and and a lot of them are rapping about them is the butter done gone gaga, and then the next one, and yeah, you're just rapping and it's just words, just words. You're saying these things, but the topic is usually always about destroying somebody else. You know what I mean? Oh, you big and bad and you're a martial artist and you can take out them, art and, all them this and that. And it's like, whoa, how the rhyme goes if you know what I mean? Boy, you just smash that one up, you smashed up. And, a lot of us, we think it's just, oh, come on, man, it's just harmless fun. But you know what? Next Tuesday, I'm going to tell you what is harmless fun is really doing. This is what ignorance does. Ignorance does things, keeps you perpetuating the very harmful thing that you think is harmless, to amplify that in the atmosphere, to come back and become more of that which you say you don't want. You don't want no more of that drama. But we seem to glorify it. We entertain ourselves with it. But to deal with positive, uplifting, soul-nourishing stuff, to even talk about, to that which helps you focus on what you can, go into yourself to take that journey to directly commune, purify your mind, purify your heart from all the egoic isms, in order for you to be able to experience directly, not indirectly, your oneness with the source of your being. You see, this is about freedom and enlightenment. And if that's not what you're dealing with yoga for, then you're dealing with something else. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with something else. Some people just want to be seen as, as a teacher. Look, I teach yoga. You see? And it gives the ego some kind of importance, and they feel they're getting something substantial out of it for that. But yoga ain't about that, man. As I said, the word means to yoke, to unite. It's for you to come into unity consciousness of yourself, rather than living in the egoic separative perception of reality, which keeps everything, in the perception of this against that, this verse and this, that verse and that. And we glorify it. And we amplify more of what we say we don't want, unconsciously unaware of how you're doing it. So I'm going to talk about that next Tuesday. So, on that note, y'all, yes, I'm going to have to, lot of energies. So, hang on, looking for something here. And, what I'm going to have to do. Nah, I was going to play some other tune, but I think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to close down the show. And I'm looking for something here that I just can't seem to find at the moment. Why? Yeah, why can I not find? Oh, gosh. You see, this is what happens when technology goes a little awry. So, all right, I'll go play you something here, and it's going to be the outro, y'all. So, yeah, all the best, and I will catch you on the flip side, yeah?
what you say.